My ex-wife's lawyer smirked when I showed up in jeans and work boots until I pulled out a manila envelope that made him go silent in front of the entire courtroom. The courtroom smelled like furniture polish and recycled air. I walked in at 9:43 a.m., wearing my work clothes, came straight from a job site. My ex-wife Diane sat at the plaintiff's table. Charcoal designer suit, probably cost more than my truck payment, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Her lawyer, Jeffrey Ashworth, leaned over whispering something. She nodded bravely. Jeffrey looked up when I walked through the doors, took in my steel-toed boots, sawdust still clinging to my jeans. His mouth curved into this slow, satisfied smile. Christmas had come early. He adjusted his $400 tie, said something to his paralegal. She laughed behind her hand. I caught the word typical. I sat down at the defendant's table alone, told my lawyer I'd handle this part myself, set my worn canvas messenger bag on the floor. Jeffrey noticed I didn't have an attorney with me. His smirk got even wider. I'd been married to Diane for 11 years. She filed for divorce 8 months ago. Irreconcilable differences, requesting full custody of our 2 kids, substantial alimony and child support. We'd met when I was 26. I was a construction supervisor. She was a receptionist at a dental office, smiled at me during a cleaning, seemed sweet and genuine. We got married after dating a year and a half, bought a small house in the suburbs. I worked my way up to starting my own contracting company. Money was good but inconsistent. Diane quit her job after our first was born, said she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. For years everything seemed fine. Not perfect, but fine. Diane handled the family finances, said I was too busy with work. I trusted her to pay bills, manage our accounts. She was good at it. Detailed spreadsheets, always knowing exactly how much we had. Looking back, I should have paid more attention. Diane started dressing nicer about 2 years ago. Expensive clothes, said they were from consignment stores. She joined a gym that cost $180 a month. Started going out for girls' nights 3 or 4 times a week. Coming home after midnight, smelling like expensive wine, making jokes about how I wouldn't understand. The first red flag came 18 months ago. I tried to transfer money from our savings. Equipment purchase for a big job. The transfer was rejected. Not enough money. I called the bank thinking it was an error. The savings account should have had around $35,000. Actually had $412. I went home and asked Diane about it, hands shaking, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked at me with wide, innocent eyes, said she'd moved the money to a different account, better interest rate. She pulled up her laptop, showed me an account statement, $34,600 in some high-yield savings account. The numbers looked right, so I believed her. But then other things started happening. Credit cards appeared that I hadn't applied for. Mortgage payment mysteriously late twice, resulting in fees. Diane blamed bank processing errors. She started receiving packages several times a week, expensive items from Nordstrom and Saks. When I asked, she'd get defensive. Said she deserved nice things. I was working 60-hour weeks, growing my business, didn't have energy to fight about shopping. The second red flag came about a year ago. Our daughter mentioned something about mom's friend David. Came over sometimes when I was at work. Said it casually while I helped with homework. David had brought pizza for lunch one day. Played video games with the kids. I asked Diane about it that night, trying to sound casual. Who's David? Diane laughed. Said he was just a guy from her book club. Stopped by to drop off books. But I started paying attention after that. Started noticing Diane would change clothes midday. Text messages from someone named D she'd quickly dismiss. I hired a private investigator 3 months before Diane filed for divorce. Thomas Kelly, 19 years in investigations. Asked him to follow her for 2 weeks. The photos he brought back were worse than I'd imagined. Diane wasn't just having an affair. She was living an entire second life. Meeting a man at restaurants I couldn't afford. Getting into his car in parking garages. Entering his building and not leaving for hours. But the affair wasn't even the worst part. While Thomas investigated, I started digging into our finances. Created new logins for all our bank accounts. What I found made my stomach drop. The high-yield savings account Diane had shown me didn't exist. That account statement had been fake. Our actual savings had been systematically drained. I found credit cards in my name I'd never opened. Maxed out. A home equity line of credit for $80,000. Completely spent. All told, Diane had stolen approximately $175,000. And I hadn't noticed. I reached for the manila envelope in my bag. Full story is linked below or on my channel.